And we are live! Hello everyone, magandang hapon, and welcome to Work From Home Pythonista. Whether you're tuning in from your work desk, home office, or somewhere in between, thank you for joining us today. We are your host, I'm Kyle, and my co-host Tep Tep, core volunteers of Python Philippines.
So, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, Work from Home Pythonista is a monthly virtual talk show where we spotlight Pythonistas and their work setups, routines, and experiences.
And for our 23rd episode, we're excited to bring you another inspiring guest lined up for today. Someone who's doing work in backend development, cloud native applications, and community building. Next slide, please.
Okay, now let's move on to our objectives for this event. On the next slide, please. Okay. So for those of you who are new to this kind of event, we have our event goals. So to our new viewers, the purpose of this event is to first give a sense of community and get inspired by fellow Pythonistas. Second is to showcase how Pythonistas think outside the box, even in a remote or hybrid setting. And lastly, to discuss tech trends and forecasts that are shaping our work as Python developers here in the Philippines.
Next slide, please. Before we introduce our speaker, we would like to recognize our sponsor for today's episode, Billy's. Billy's is a flagship product of First Digital Finance Corporation, or FDFC, a financial technology company building disruptive and innovative products in retail credit for Southeast Asia. Today, they are working across two continents, working towards a cheaper and fairer way for Filipinos to access financial services. Kaya thank you so much, Billy's, for making this episode possible.
All right, now let's get into the core part of our event. First, let's introduce our featured guest, none other than Arnel Jan Sarmiento. He is a passionate Python backend engineer and community lead of DurianPy. So, Arnel has over 4 years of experience building scalable cloud native solutions. He's an AWS Certified Pro working on secure APIs, data pipelines, and real time apps in fintech and healthcare. He's also a leader in one of Davao's tech community, the DurianPy, Davao's Python user group. Now let's welcome Arnel with a round of virtual applause.
All right. Ayun. Thanks so much, no, Steph and Kyle, for welcoming me here. And thank you so much, Python PH, for the invite. And yeah, let's kick things off. So let me share my screen first. Um, wait lang. All right. Ayun. Ayun. Can you see my screen? Yeah, all right. So first off, let me introduce myself first. Yun. Hi, I'm Arnel Sarmiento. You guys can call me Nel. I'm from Davao City, Philippines. So as Steph mentioned earlier, I'm a cloud engineer and Python developer, working mostly on cloud native containers and serverless stuff in AWS. I'm also the community lead of DurianPy, Davao's Python user group. So we do meetups, monthly events to essentially help educate Davao's tech scene with Python technologies. So yeah, I'm AWS certified and I just graduated magna cum laude at UP Mindanao. So congrats, shout out sa mga taga UP Mindanao diyan. Ayun. All right. So when I was invited to this whole series of events, I was looking into the past iterations of this, and I just realized that this was something that was spawned, like initiated way back in 2021, with the first guest being si Sir Arbs. So, shout out Sir Arbs if you're listening somewhere. But yeah, this actually made me realize that this was some sort of initiative to help the Python community be active during the pandemic, and essentially help other Pythonistas to get over this weird phase during our lifetime and our work, wherein nasa bahay lang tayo and we're all work from home. So we're bringing in pros and um, bringing in tips to help each other, right? But with my case, it's a bit different because my career did not boom during the pandemic. It actually just started, right? So those of you who don't know, way back in 2021, I was at grade 11 senior high school. And so yun, shout outs Gen Z. So at that time, at the very beginning of the pandemic, there was this weird phase wherein walang klase. Essentially, lahat ng mga tao, lahat ng mga students were just, all of the classes were just cut off. And then you have this weird 6 months of summer vacation and you have nothing to do because you don't have any assignments, nothing to really think about and worry about since the world just stopped all of a sudden, right? Well, in my case, need ko maghanap ng kinabibisihan, right? And luckily, there was this whole thing online called CS50. And it was one of the most famous sa mga, let's say, free courses out there in the web at that time. So it was a course from Harvard that was like 7 to 8 episodes long, with each episode mga 1 hour. But realistically, each episode will take you a day kapag you actually follow along line by line, code by code. So it really took a lot. So which is that was actually one of the critiques with CS50. It took a lot of time to actually finish. Luckily, during the pandemic, I had plenty of those. So yeah, this is actually a very comprehensive course. No, it started from HTML, CSS, Git, Python, Django, up until CI/CD, DevOps, and security. So very comprehensive, diba? And one of the things that actually helped me kick off my Python tech career was its bit of segment with Django. Ayun. So Django was one of the courses, one of the topics of this course, and this is actually one of the tools that this course primarily revolved around. So you're gonna start with HTML, CSS up until a Django segment where you're gonna build your app from there with full CI/CD and security built in. Okay, so those are the things that actually helped me in forcing myself to learn, because what CS50 did something special, because they actually force you in order for you to progress through each segment of the course, you have to submit a mini project based on the um, teachings of that current course of the previous segment that you worked on. So, for example, for the HTML and CSS segment, they required you to submit a mini Google landing page clone with HTML and CSS, purely with HTML and CSS, and submit that. People from C50 will go ahead and check all of your outputs, and only from there you can proceed into the next course, which will be on JavaScript and then on Django and so on and so on. So it's actually a good way for you to force yourself to really put in the R's and learn from scratch. And yeah, that really helped me to really get my whole Python journey kick-started, especially as senior high school student. Yeah, so that was 2021. So what I'm presenting here is the timeline of what happened all throughout my career for the past 4 years. So around 2022, from all of these projects, I essentially built my portfolio, um, made some other side projects from there, and eventually I landed my very first freelance Python gig with Django as well. And yeah, I did that for a few months. Basically did some um, essentially work for schools, for some relatives to just help me add things to my portfolio and things like that. Mga small gigs lang. But when I hit first year in 2021 to 2022, around late 2021, around that time. I hold off the freelance gigs muna because I wanted to experiment first if kaya ko ba mapagsabay itong whole thing ko with college with work, right? So when first year, first sem came along, I realized na ba't parang medyo light ang workload nito. It actually surprised me that I had so much free time. There was some times during the online classes na whole afternoon wala akong ginagawa. Like yeah, it was really weird. And that made me realize that I could actually capitalize on this and search for other gigs online. So when first year, second sem hit, I went ahead and job hunted. So yeah, since maraming free time and most of the time I was bored, I went job hunting for local tech companies or whoever who's hiring, right? And just around that time, since pandemic man, lahat ng mga companies was work from home. So there was this sort of synergy wherein online classes ka and then work from home. All of it can be done, right? And I've heard people doing much crazier things, having multiple full-time jobs now work from home. So probably, no, probably, kaya ko to. Kaya ko ba? So that was the question that I was trying to answer all throughout this experiment with my early years in college days. And anong naisip ko is if ever things got overwhelmed for me, I could always just resign, right? So yeah, it's just a point in my life where I wanted to push my limits and figure out ano ba talaga yung kaya ng time ko and ano ba yung kaya ng capacity ko. So right there, um, I moved from company to company over the years. I got hired for my first overseas full-time role. This is with me with Elementa. This fintech company based in Sydney I work with. So at this point, I was the youngest um, engineer in my team, and all of my coworkers were like people with 10 years plus experience, and I was the youngest person there, and it was a really incredible experience to be around those people, and it actually helped me accelerate my growth and learn a lot. And yeah, this is me with one of my offsites. This is actually the place where I learned to love and really look into enterprise grade Python code. So yeah, um, ang experience when it comes when compared to freelancing and essentially you're the only engineer in your solo team, right? And all the resources you have, all of the experiences na mapagkukuhanan mo, paghuhugutan mo is only from you and the internet. You don't have a mentor. That's the hard thing about freelancing. So this is the first part of my career where I actually received mentorship and learned from the experience of senior engineers. So yeah, those are the key milestones that I've encountered during my Python career. And one other milestone that I'd love to share is my very first PyCon. So this is around the PyCon PH 2024. I'm over here. If you, no, I don't think you can see my cursor, but yeah, I'm around there in the crowd. This is my very first PyCon, and it was a really incredible experience. A lot of great topics, a lot of mind-blowing speakers, and first na this is actually the biggest tech conference that I've been to. So what happened there is that all of my like para binudol ko lahat ng mga classmates ko essentially. So um when the first announcement of PyCon PH came along, parang sinend ko agad sa GC namin, and then I immediately reserved the flights and the tickets for all of them. So guys, sige na, join me, and then you can just pay me back, and we'll figure out from there. So ayun, I really wanted the people to join me and experience this, right? So one of those na nabudol is si Rafa here, one of the organizers now ng the work from home Pythonista. So that's that. But yeah, really incredible experience. But um key thing na one key people na na-meet ko here is Sir Irvin Jimenez. So for those of you who didn't know, Sir Irvin was the founder and the very first community lead of DurianPy, Davao's Python user group. So we met from there. We talked about everything Python and all of things. And a few months later, he invited me to revive DurianPy. So it was a long process of going ahead and figuring out paano ba to gawin, how to run a user group. But luckily, I had help. So yung mga nabudol ko sa Python PH, luckily nabudol ko din sa DurianPy, right? So yeah, your friends will help you along the way. So this was the very first na event after the comeback. Medyo ano pa, medyo old pa yung ano yung mga pubs, yung art style because we adopted the very first art style back in 2013, 2012. So yeah, it was a good first start, and that's the very first meetup that we organized to that. And yeah, right now we're organizing PyCon Davao and have we already have a new logo for DurianPy altogether. So those are the milestones and all of the things that I went through throughout my Python career. And all of that having dealing with the work from home setup with my Australian-based company while being a full-time student at UP na ano, online classes din. So it was an incredible journey, and the reason why I'm telling you this is just to give you a preface of what I currently do to handle all of these things simultaneously, and this will make my work from home setup much more meaningful. So ayun. So yan, all of the things that I've been doing, ayun, nandiyan si Rafa. Um, so yeah, currently back to the topic at hand, my work from home setup. So I just actually currently moved out of my parents' house. So I now live alone in an apartment somewhere. So this is my current work from home setup. Um, Mostly work in progress. Just bought this couch like a few months ago, and ito yung mga most used ko na pieces of furniture. So I have this office chair that I'm currently using, and this like small lang na bench press. So it's very important for me to actually give in the time to exercise because the vast majority of your brain capacity is actually built into the finer movements of your body, like like motor neurons, right? So it's very good to exercise the motor part of your brain and allow it to take center stage when it comes to um, triggering the rest of the part of your brain that deals with the coding aspect of your career of your work time. So yeah, most of these two if there's two things that I'd like for people to take away from this talk is that exercise is very great and actually helps you a lot to refresh and have a new perspective of things, especially kapag nagde-debug ka ng mga hard stuff in Python. So yeah, especially weight training. I recommend weight training. Um, for my day-to-day work, I currently use these tools. So mostly I'm on Python, Fast API, and Django stacks, and mostly in AWS with serverless technologies with DynamoDB, Lambda, and some DevOps stuff with Docker, GitHub Actions, Kubernetes, and Terraform. I also use Vim, so raise of hands kung sino nag-Vim dito. Familiar with Vim? All right. Yeah, pero yeah, it's actually a pretty good way for you to code really fast, and it actually allows you to treat your keyboard as an instrument. Once you get good, you will feel the symphony within your code, and how you will feel how fast you work, and this will actually unlock you a very good amount of productivity within your coding workflow. So yeah, I recommend you to try out Vim. Kahit Vim Motions lang, start with Vim Motions. If you have like VS Code, like all of the IDEs that are out there, like PyCharm, mga JetBrains, the products, all of them have Vim Motions and extensions. try to start from there. And then later on ka na mag-proceed doon sa mga hardcore na ni Vim custom configuration stuff. So yeah, currently I use Cursor, which is just an AI fork of VS Code. So it's actually great, really good. The company that I work with has a premium subscription to it, so I have I have unlimited use to this product. So yeah, currently I'm working on like the ownership of our observability platform with Grafana, OpenTelemetry, Tempo, Loki, and Prometheus to unlock our whole observability stack that we own. So, ayun. Those are some things that I use in my day-to-day work. And yeah, lots of things that allow me to be productive when it comes to working on these things. But yeah, on to my day-to-day schedule. So it's mostly like this. So I wake up around 8:30 to 9 a.m. depende sa time of day. Um, I uh, I allot around the 30 minutes for my day prep. So I don't jump in to work immediately once I wake up. So I allow myself to um, bathe, walk around the neighborhood mostly, and then once at I hit like 9 a.m., that's where I start getting into the meetings, daily stand-ups, and everything. One thing that I notice is that I don't drink coffee at the first 30 minutes of my day. Yeah, because it actually increases your cortisol levels and increases the likelihood for you to be more stressful, like more susceptible to stress at the later parts of the day. So I hold that off for the first 30 minutes to 1 hour. But yeah, I am an avid coffee drinker. I if the work really gets in, I drink around 2 to 3 cups of coffee per day. But yeah, it's something that I'd advise for most work from home professionals because coffee is really accessible and it's really hard to abuse. Coffee is something that I treat as a superpower rather than just something that's in my baseline capacity, right? So yeah, be careful and study if the your study you have to study your relationship with these types of drugs, right? Because coffee is a drug. You have to study um your like your reaction to it, how your sleep is going, and do that for weeks to months straight on and figure out what's the best balance for you. Ganun. So yeah, back to my schedule. So I just pick up work from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then I allot myself 1 hour for lunch around 12 to 1. So that's a non-negotiable for me. Um, these times are where I actually block off most of my Slack messages. So I turn off my notifications around that time. But it's really important for me to unwind and do things and make sure I'm refreshed the next part of my day, right? So I continue work and pick up from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then on to dinner, which I also block off from the rest of my calendar. But yeah, my work actually goes beyond the normal 9 to 5 schedule, 9 to 6 sa Filipino, but um, it actually is something that is challenging to manage. So the amount of work that I have to do, it is what it is. It will go ahead and exceed the amount of time. So you really have to be careful and really be strict about the time that you allocate for yourself. So ayun, um, at around 8 to 9 o'clock, I stop my day-to-day work from there sa regular day job ko. And then by 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. I continue with like DurianPy housekeepings or regular meetings for monthly meetups, things like that. If my time, I do skill building and some ad hoc work from there to there, like some R&D stuff, things like that. just for cleanup and making sure that I'm prepared for the next workday. Ganun. And then the rest of the day is for sleep. But things are actually different when it comes to weekends because weekends are very important to me, and I allocate most of my lifestyle and the rest towards those times. So I I sleep in a bit late when it comes to Saturdays and Sundays para lang makabawi sa sleep that I lost all throughout the weekdays, and then lunch and proceed sa DurianPy stuff, skill building, and some ad hoc work from there to there. So yeah, though that's my whole timeline when I do work from home setups, and it actually helped me when I do this consistently for the past 4 years because my body is well adjusted to this schedule. Um, when like over the past 4 years, I've trained myself to wake up at this certain time, sleep at this certain time. It has actually come into a point na once I lay into my bed, there's no sleep. Shut down na all from there. So this works for me. But this doesn't really this is not really advisable for anyone. If you're going to adopt a schedule of someone else, I urge you not to do that. I urge you to figure out ano ba talaga yung sleep cycle mo. So there are people that are early birds, there are people na night owls, and you have to figure out which one you are kasi it's a genetic thing. It's something that you can't control. It's something na um, it has something to do with a lot of factors, but mostly genetics. So you really have to align the way you work towards your genetics, right? So yeah, you have to look it up and figure it out from there, and yeah, to each his own, 'di ba? Pero yun, outside from work, I mostly do lifestyle things like running. I try to get in my kilometers from here and there from week to week, and try to spend time with my dog. So that's my dog Ori. So yeah, he's pretty energetic, but as much as possible, I'd like to take him out and go outside from every weekend and so. But yeah, that's actually pretty much it from my experiences working as a work from home Pythonista for the past 4 to 5 years. So yeah, yeah, thank you. So though I hope you guys have learned some things or my experiences and a bit of shameless plug lang. We're kicking off PyCon Davao on October 25 to 26. So registrations are now open. And yun, see you there, everyone. And yeah, here's my QR code for you to connect with me. And yeah, thanks so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Arnel, for your presentation and for also for sharing your experiences. We'll now move on to our live Q&A segment. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below and we'll read them out live. So while we wait for questions to come in, I'd like to ask Arnel something that I find really interesting, given that you mentioned leading DurianPy, I think most recently lang. What advice would you give for starters who want to like contribute to the community or be involved in general?
Yeah, when it comes to being involved with the community, it's actually pretty easy. Most the communities are actually looking out for volunteers.
Yes.
So if you can just reach out sa mga Facebook pages of those communities, they're pretty much willing to bring you in, maybe have you fill out a form and get to know you a bit, and then you can start working on their activities from there. So that's how we do things. I'm sure the rest of the other communities have their different way of doing things, but it's pretty much accessible. So yeah, I encourage everyone, especially students who are working in tech-related courses, to join the community. That's where you will meet people outside of academe and get your mentorship all throughout. So yun yung ROI. So you provide you provide free labor for the tech community, provide some hours, host mga events like these, but in return you get career benefits that will affect you for years to come, 'di ba?
So
So
yeah,
yeah, yun.
thank you for the advice. So yeah, so guys, mag-join na kayo ng mga community if you guys are interested for us to really network and as well as gain mentorship as well. How about you, Steph? Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a lot, char. A few questions ready actually. Since wala pa namang nag-post ng question here sa ating chat, it's mostly about time. So, you mentioned earlier, Arnel, na I had so much free time. That was like during your college days or before college days, I think, yung SHS part. How about now? Compared to your college days and your time now, is there like a significant change now that you have graduated, you have work and handle the community? Is there a significant change compared to your current time after you graduated compared to your college? So do you have less or more time?
Well, the idea supposedly is you should have more time, right? But parang hindi yun nangyayari right now. But yeah, I think the amount of time that I work has remained the same pa rin, pero yung proportionality lang on what I actually work with has increased. Yeah, because in my day job, things have been much more intense lately. I've been shifted to many roles, more responsibilities once I graduated. So a lot of things have essentially remained the same. Parang nag-balance out lang. Parang nabawasan yung academe stuff, pero na-increase yung ano. So things have leveled out to the status quo, right? But yeah, the idea should be you should have more time once you graduate, especially when you're doing the same thing like me when you're juggling full-time work with full-time school, right?
Yeah, talking about school, I know that there are some participants here na mga students pa and also have volunteering responsibilities. What are your tips and suggestions? The time that you have before with your as a student and with work plus with the community na din. What are your tips and suggestions for students who also dabble with volunteering responsibilities?
Yeah, yeah. Well, in my case, it's actually quite a different set of experiences because it was the perfect storm kasi like online school, online work, and volunteering wherein I'm essentially the lead, so I can manage my time effectively and delegate things on my own. But some people don't have that privilege, right? And if you're doing it from scratch, I'd say handle it one by one. Experiment muna kung ano makakaya mo, and if you feel that you can do more, try to do more. And if you feel na there's something na you have, parang you feel a bit overwhelmed na, try to commit muna, I'd say, for at least 1 month. And after that, doon mo masabi kung nakaya mo ba talaga or hindi. Because there's an acclimatization stage, di ba? And you really have to put faith within yourself kung kaya mo ba ma-withstand yung acclimation stage na yun. So at I'd say is for the first few months, the only way out is through. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And I have here a question from Zorak Salvo. It's related to what you said earlier that exercise is great, very great. He mentioned here na he started incorporating more into physical activity sa kanyang routine. And you emphasized kanina its importance. And knowing your background, he asks na when you're deeply focused on coding or event planning, what strategies or reminders do you use to ensure na you still get up and move regularly?
Actually need advice din for that. So I'm not doing a good job at that, especially when the work is picking up. Sobrang hirap talaga i-singit yung mga times na yun. But one incredible thing about having your own, let's say, like own gym setup, kasi I have my own workout setup here sa bahay. So I have my own bench press and my own na na dumbbells. So, you can actually pick up the rest. Like, pwede mo ihabol yung workout mo at the late parts of the day. So, there will be some times that pwede mo makasingit ng a few sets around 12 midnight kapag makaya ko. And right after, diretso na ako sleep. 'Di ba? So, it's one of those things that you have to find a way na masingit. I don't have a good set of advice kung paano siya magawa. I know working out during the night is not optimal. Yeah, but it's my way to at least masingit yung mga bagay-bagay. Maybe others have other strategies. Some people run at the very earliest in the morning. But yeah, you got to really experiment muna what is applicable within, because people have their own work schedules, so people have their own timelines, diba? So yeah.
Yeah, talking about your schedule, I saw the schedule kanina, yung presentation. Yung question ko lang is, do you faithfully follow your schedule? Like, for the whole week?
Well, may mga times na hindi. So, I think nag-chat tayo kagabi around 3 in the morning, right? So, um, that's one of those times na hindi. So, it actually depends on the amount of workload that you have to deal with. It's very volatile. Sometimes medyo chill yung mga days, sometimes it's not. But at the current position that I am in my organization, wala akong choice kundi to struggle and go ahead with those long hours and really push through because the business is relying on it, right?
Yeah, kasi upcoming na din yung Python Davao 2025, 'di ba?
Yeah, and
So may
that
changes ng sched. May
agree.
follow-up pala si Zorex, but it's related to your comment about Vim. Aside from being productive using it, there's also a good amount of procrastination while configuring it. So what are your comments on that one?
I agree with that. Kasi I actually went through that phase din like a few years ago kasi for those of you who don't know, if you went into the Vim rabbit hole, you can actually customize a lot with your Vim setup with your own LSP, with your own list ng mga ng mga configurations, and I went through that and I noticed at the middle of my whole configuration setup that I've been spending more time during the hours sa configuration ko over the actual code that I should be working on, the actual code that I'm actually being paid to work with. So that's when I realized that, okay, I just need to figure out ano yung minimum na kaya ko na configuration to work with and be productive with. And then I can give up on um, optimizing my setup because I think it was like last year, I gave up with my custom configurations ni Vim. I gave up. So parang, okay, ito na yun. Base lang to na lazy Vim. Okay na to sa akin. I know medyo kulang siya for many people, but for me, it's fine. And then much recently, I moved out of my custom configuration sa Vim and moved into Cursor because it actually provided a lot more productivity on my end as compared to my new Vim setup. I still had some Vim motions, pero the AI features are just so next level na the shortcuts, the macros that I have set up is just that they just can't compete with the AI, right?
Yes, thank you so much for that, Arnel. We have another question from Nika. What technologies or tools do you usually use to boost your productivity or time management?
Hmm. Well, I don't really have any fancy productivity tools that I currently use. I just have a to-do list. Like Microsoft To Do, that's pretty much it. And then Asana and Google Calendar for plotting out my schedules, kailan ba mga travels ko, when ba ako dapat mag-apply ng leaves, mga things like that, ng ganun. Pero as much as tools are concerned, that's pretty much it, nothing else. I just try to be as organized as possible when it comes to how I plan my days. But yeah, nothing much to comment on that one.
Yeah, so it's really more about like doing the to-do list as well as a Google Calendar, and being organized as possible. So we do have another question here from YouTube from Micaela Reyes. Do you still have time for hobbies and personal life? Are there areas of your life that you've merged para mangyali lahat? Or are there things you've chosen to drop?
Hmm. Oh, right. Thank you for that, Ate Mickey. So, ayun, it's actually a bit complicated, but yeah, um, given the current stage of my career at the moment, like I've made a choice that at this part, like very earliest stages, I can put off having like just a few hours of my hobbies and the rest of my um like mga entertainment stuff, like have that put on hold muna at this moment for now because I just wanted to pursue personal and career growth at this early stage. Maybe there will be a point in my life where I want to have more time for myself, have more work-life balance. Pero yeah, at this moment, this actually works for me, and it's something that I wake up every day and be passionate about still. Time will tell if that will that will continue for the next few years. Pero I'm actually being very, very careful about it, like trying to observe my reaction towards things, try to observe ano ba yung kaya na mental capacity ko because when push comes to shove, your health will be the priority, 'di ba? So ayun, when a moment comes wherein compromise na yan, that's a sign that you have to quit. Well, at least one thing na kinabisihan mo. So that's me on my end.
We also have another follow-up question from Ate Vicky. Also, what made you decide na mag-abono for flights ng mga kasama mo to attend PyCon PH 2024? That's very generous.
Okay. Actually, hindi ko inabono. Ano lang, um, ano na siya, it's a friendly loan to say. So it's my way for me to say na, okay guys, I will book flights at this time period. Next week, mag-book ng flights. So, either you're with me or you're not. So, parang na-force sila na mag-join pa rin. Kasi alam nilang ano eh, they can always pick up and gain their allowances a few months after, and you can pay me back anytime. Basta gusto ko lang kasama. Pero yeah, it's not like abono talaga. It's just like a loan to say. Pero it actually paid off dividends when it comes to the Python community in DurianPy. Because what happened there is that the very first set of people that I brought sa PyCon 2024 has now been the core team of DurianPy now. So yeah, it's an incredible story, and really grateful that people have sticked and built the community with me then.
Um, Sabi ni Ate Mickey, budol technique mo daw yan.
Wait, medyo.
Ala. May question si Sky here sa Zoom niya send. Since you mentioned setting aside time for lunch and dinner, do you have some effective meal preparation tips and strategies for maintaining a healthy diet with a busy schedule?
Yeah. That's something na very hard talaga. Pero one thing that I've tried, like medyo kinaadikan ko right now is I just bought an air fryer and parang kinaadikan ko paano mag-create ng new recipes with it. So what I do is I prepare a bunch of chicken breasts and marinate it and just have it over sa air fryer. And when it comes to parang malapit na mag 11 o'clock, I just put that out of the freezer, tapos ilagay sa air fryer ko, then have that ready for my meal. So it's more on preparation. I do that. I try to do that over the weekends. So like a bunch of Tupperwares, tapos ilagay lang sa ref ko yung mga na-prepare ko na mga meals. And then that should last around 3 to 4 days estimate over the weekdays. And then if maubusan ako ng supply, mag-grab na lang ako. It's something that you have to really put time in talaga.
Noted daw, yung air
Yeah,
fryer.
kasi di ba yung tendency, 'di ba? Kapag work from ka tapos busy, puro fast food, tapos parang na compromise yung health mo. So I try to avoid that as much as possible because I've been there. I've gained weight from being work from home tapos puro Grab na lang lahat 'to.
Wait, I'm starting to do the grab thing na din.
'Di ba?
But yeah, true. So, health is more important. Any other questions, Kyle? Or do you have any additional questions, Kyle?
So far, parang wala. Pero if you guys have any questions, you guys can raise your hand or di kaya like open your mic. So, um, I think meron po pala akong question. Wait, let me... Sorry. And we have a question here. What AI models do you like to use in Cursor?
Yeah, it actually depends on the task, but my go-to is just yung yung Claude na 4.1. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But it actually depends on the task. When it comes to just normal refactoring, when it comes to okay, I want this module, I want this function to be moved out to a separate class, I'll just use the 4.1. And it's actually different because I have the pro plan from my company, so I'm a bit reckless when it comes to the tokens. I don't mind the tokens that much because yeah, it's all covered by my company. But that's my go-to when it comes to fast execution tasks. But there are some deep thinking tasks in like Cursor, with the brain icon that takes a huge time to actually propagate when it comes to actual debugging of configuration and having API calls to let's say debug my current infrastructure in AWS. I use those types of models.
Thank you for that. I have another question. You've worked on cloud native AI-driven backend systems across fintech, health tech, and infrastructure. Can you tell us about a project you're especially proud of?
Yeah. So I'm currently working on a health tech startup that has around millions of users per per day. And it's actually quite a bit of overwhelming because it's the first time I worked at that scale. And one important thing with that is the AI project that I'm working on is actually quite huge. It actually has a bunch of agentic workflows, a bunch of RAG setups, a bunch of data sources that we can pull through from Shopify, our own databases, our own vector stores. So a lot of things to consolidate. So balancing that type of complexity with the amount of traffic we have with the type of infrastructure that I'm currently trying to set up is a huge and tremendous amount of workload for me. But yeah, those are some things that are actually quite exciting for me when it comes to those types of systems. So,
Interesting. Um, do we still have another question?
May pahabol from YouTube. May nag-ask si Ravhen. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name properly, but baka may bias ka daw na AI model, local AI model, best local AI model.
man, I don't use local models. Sorry. Pero I've tried Ulama, and there was this point sa company ko wherein there was like a scare when it comes to Cursor, right? And they actually prohibited the use of the proprietary models that are cloud-based. So I did a few workarounds for me to work with Cursor. I ran and connected my local na Olama model and connected that doon sa like just provide the API keys diretso sa Cursor, and it all worked fine for me up until a certain point wherein the whole ban was lifted, and I went back to the whole cloud-based Claude models. But yeah, only tried Olama. Sorry if I can't answer your question, but it works pretty fine.
All right, now that we're in 5:54, let's move along to our closing segment. We want to have a short check-in lang. Baka you have any additional plugs, shout-outs, or yeah, upcoming events you want to share to the community.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, as I mentioned, PyCon Davao 2025. Registration is open for anyone looking to sponsor. We'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, we also have a meetup at August 20 sa DurianPy, all around agentic AI startups. And that is in partnership with Davao Startup Week. So for everyone tuning in and looking to gain more experience with agentic AI, see you there.
Thank you for that, Arnel. Hope you guys will join what Arnel shared. So yeah, um, for our next slide, we have our feedback form. So we hope you guys enjoyed our today's session. So your feedback really helped us to make each episode better. So please take a moment to fill out our feedback form. You guys can scan the QR code in the screen as well as the link provided in the comment section below. Again, thank you so much, Arnel, for having us, as well as sharing your experiences.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, yung background ko. All right. If you're done with our feedback form or scanning our feedback form, let's have a quick photo op. So if you're comfortable, you can turn on your cameras so we can see your lovely faces ng mga participants. Wait, ano ko lang yung layout.
Who will facilitate the screenshot? Okay. Sorry. You guys can still open your cams pa, guys.
Don't close yet.
Don't be shy, guys. Sorry, who will facilitate the screenshot? Or ako na lang?
Ay, wait. Eto pa lang. Ay, paano ba to? Ay, sa view pala siya. Wait, sorry. Eto. So, everyone na maka-open camera, let's have a quick photo op. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait. Wait, Rafa, pa-help na lang ako. Or Kyle.
Sige. 1, 2, 3, smile. Ayan. Let's do another shot. We have this tradition wherein we share anything that we have in our desk. So if you guys can show it on the camera, please do that. So yeah. We have a shout out here from Zorex. Give a shout out to YouTube live viewers in the comments daw. Mickey, Audrey, and Pai Danny, Harry are in the comments. Hello, Mickey. Hello, Audrey, Pai Danny, and Harry. Ayan. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. Thank you, guys. So I guess that's the wrap of our Work from Home Pythonista, episode 23. Thank you guys again to our speaker, Arnel Jan Sarmiento, our sponsor, Bill East, and of course to everyone, our community, for tuning in. Keep learning, keep sharing, and keep coding. We'll see you in the next episode of Work from Home Pythonista. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.